That's a strange way for a Mormon to talk.
I know.
In the first place.
That's what makes it good. Dennis, my man, it's been too long. Like 4 weeks. I mean,
you fell asleep last week.
Yeah.
Had me worried. When you're a no-show, I'm like, oh my God, maybe something happened.
He must be dead in the gutter. Yes.
Well, no, I wouldn't maybe not go that far, but whatever. So I get worried. So I was glad, and I said to my wife, I said, he might have fallen asleep. It's 10:30 there. I mean,
Very, very, very true.
Near Thanksgiving,
I used to be so much more aligned to the East Coast American schedule because I would, that's the hours that I worked. And I would take off a little bit from work to have dinner with my family, and I'd go back to work and then finish work, and then I would have I don't know, I typically take an hour or something to like watch some TV or something before I went to bed at midnight. But now that I'm all on this like European timeline where like I have meetings in my morning and craziness, it's I'm much more in line with the European time zone. So it's different that and so it's sometimes I'm exhausted at
6 hour difference is a lot when you've worked all day, as opposed to in the old schedule, you were just finishing up work.
Right, exactly. So it, and before I will always treasure that schedule because it let me spend all morning with my young children when they were young, and that was super important.
Yeah.
But now that they go off to school, I have discovered that I'm more. Wow. Are the cops coming to get you?
Who knows, man?
I've discovered that I'm more productive in the morning when I'm like fully rested and stuff.
Oh sure.
But
sure. Well, we could always look at making it earlier.
Well, I don't want to,
because I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't have a whole lot of scheduling concerns anymore. My contracts are down to zip point shit, and childcare is pretty much under control. On Wednesday, there's only the baby here, as opposed to Friday when we got two grandbabies.
Right. If we could go an hour earlier, that would be amazing.
Let's give it a shot.
All right.
Let's give it a shot.
I'll reschedule the calendar event.
Let me look at one thing though, because I knew I did have a. Sorry to do this. You'll have to edit it out, I guess.
Paperwork. Flipping papers. Paper. Wednesday. Flipping papers.
No, I got nothing on.
You ain't got shit.
Wednesdays in December.
No, December's all free for you.
Cool.
All right. Even though you look like Santa Claus.
Yeah, I'd reschedule my colonoscopy and put it off a few days. It's every 5 years. I used to get it every year. I told you about the big thing they found in me. Oh my God. Took pictures of it.
They found a big thing in you? When was this?
Yeah, something they found up my ass. One of those...
polyp?
What do you call it? Yeah, polyp.
Okay.
And it was bigger than shit, man. It was bigger than a quarter, and
wow.
And puffy, and I'm recuperating in the operating room, and I liked where I went, and they had music on, when I was falling asleep, and that woman doctor was pleasant.
Right.
And I woke up, and she said, blah, blah, blah. And she said, oh, well, it's kind of bad news and good news. We found some things. We found on one big butt. And she said, and I have it right here.
Oh, no.
And
do you want to hold it in your hand?
And she said, but it's nice, because it's pink and it's kind of soft. And I said to her, "Are you going to take it home as a pet and name it?" And she thought that was very funny.
Oh,
thank goodness.
Little Dennis.
And yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, little shit. Oh, well.
Well.
No. So I'm getting another one. I'm 5 years out.
So in theory, the policy used to be in the States to start the colonoscopies at age 50.
55, I believe, but
well, no, it used to be 50, and they've since suggested moving back to 45, which is yours truly here, and it's one of those things that is if it manages to prevent something, then it's save your life. Otherwise, it's a big pain in the ass. No pun intended. But
oh no, I think you intended that pun.
But it's
Come on now.
So I'm kind of curious to ask my doctor, like, so when do I start the cave exploration?
Well, and he would say, there's no downside in doing it early. No pun intended.
Yeah, just an up your downside.
I mean, if you can do it now or you can wait, but the recommendation is blah blah blah. But you don't show any symptoms or signs, so
right. But there's so many stories of there were no symptoms or signs, but we caught this earlier, blah blah blah.
Right.
So why not start looking earlier? I don't know. It's a thing I'm curious about.
Well, and have you ever had one?
No.
Oh Lord.
So that's why I'm curious.
The trouble, well, save it. The difficult part of it, in many aspects,
is the preparation.
The most difficult part of it is the prep, because you've got to drink two 64-ounce bottles of liquid.
That's disgusting.
Over the course of 12 hours, and along with it, all sorts of shit, no pun intended,
yes,
to make you evacuate everything.
Yep.
And so you got to stay next to a toilet. You've got to do it. It takes hours. Next day you're tired as can be, and then they put you out.
Right.
So after that, it's like I don't remember any after effects, but they tell you to pick something that you like the taste of. And the trouble is that no matter how much you like it, after you drink 128 ounces of it in 2 hours, you're not going to like it anymore. So makes me want to burp.
Wow, that's 4 liters. Okay. Wow, that's
it's a lot.
That's a lot of liquid. Yeah, the stories I've heard are that it's kind of comic in the waiting room to go and have that done, where like everyone's there waiting, and then like there's a bathroom there, and everyone is like needing to shit themselves all the time, and like there's a line to get into the bathroom, and everyone's just but
well, anyway, I wouldn't wish it on anybody, but
we have
I had it done 5 years ago, which I had it done annually, no pun intended. And I told you about the ice cream store we saw on the way driving. It's called Uranus Ice Cream.
Continue.
And the pictures of the ice cream, like soft serve, which when you put it on it
Sure.
looks like a pile of perfectly laid shit.
Yes.
Cartoon shit.
Nice. Yeah. The
Shit
emoji.
usually look like that.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, that's just a random thought.
Mine do. Mine come out like soft serve.
Oh, do they? Well,
a little.
it's really good to know. I love it when somebody farts and you say, "Oh my God," and they say, "What? I don't. It doesn't smell." Because you can't smell your own farts very well. Some people sometimes can't smell their own farts.
Yeah, I try my best, but
To smell them because you like it.
I mean, it's
I saw a movie last night. Picked a war movie for old Dad. Old Pops here,
yeah.
who loves war movies. And it was strange. I want to research it a little bit because I'm intrigued by it. It's got some actors in it who I like a lot, and I've seen in movies since, including Oliphant, who was in the the Western movie.
What was the name of the movie you saw?
I can't remember the name of the movie. I can't remember the name of the Timothy Oliphant is his name.
Yes.
And I knew several actors, and the odd thing was, I looked up their filmography,
Yeah.
and even though they were in this movie, and even though the Wikipedia, for example, seemed to be reading as a complete list, it didn't say he was in this, and others. And the filmography is a chart. It's 2 pages long. The year, the title, what he played, there's a table that they give you, and it wasn't there. And I must have missed it though, because what I'm saying is improbable.
Very. Yeah, all I see him is in his TV series.
The Western.
No, just like TV shows.
What's the name of one of them?
Well, you said you were watching a movie.
I know, but what are the one Western was one of the best ones I've ever seen. They ended it after
There's one called.
one season.
There's a movie called Amsterdam, and he was in The Mandalorian, Deadwood, the movie.
That Deadwood is the series, which also was a movie.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, he was in that. That's interesting. Anyway, Justified, maybe. I don't know.
No, the war movie had a strange name.
Well, anyway, cool.
Fascinating.
So where, what have you been up to? What, I've got a couple of stories I guess I could tell, but
Well, I've done. Let's see. I think I went on my trip out to State College. I have a story to tell you about that, and then went to Dunkirk and fished for brown trout, which I sent you a picture of, I'm sure. My brother and I caught one at the same time, called a double, for reasons I will never understand. And so we have a picture of each of us with a fish. But on the way to State College, I was about an hour there. It's about a 9-hour drive. And I'm driving in from Kalamazoo, Michigan, and driving, listen to the radio. Get to Youngstown, Ohio, and it's like still another hour and a half. I'm like, wow, this is a long ways, 9 hours.
Yep.
Or 7.5 hours, I should say, 7.5 hours. And I called my brother. I said, well, I'll be there in about 30 minutes. And when I was that close. And he said, all right. He said, listen, man. And then I hear another voice say, hey, Uncle Dennis. And his son, Adam, is there from D.C., and his wonderful girlfriend. And I said, oh, wow, the family's there. He says, yeah, man, Mac, you see Mac tonight too, but he's bartending. Going to be a busy night tonight, busy day tomorrow. I said, why? He said, well, tomorrow's the big game. I said, what game is that? State College is playing Michigan.
Nice.
Their biggest rival in Penn State. And he said, you get to go to the Penn State Michigan tailgate.
Ooh.
The game's at noon. We need to be there by 7.
How American. Nice.
We got there at 8. And everything was completely set up. Popped a beer for breakfast. Started eating some food that people were handing out. And then, and there's a video of this, which I'll send you because description won't cover it. At every hour on the hour of the the guy who's the organizer, who in some parlance this is referred to as the bishop, stands up on a cooler and he says, "Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya," and starts doing a chant. Whoa, 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 chant. And as he's doing the chant, the 12, 15 people around our tent, which is next to a tent with five or six people, another tent, 5 or 6, right across from us, another tent, 5, or you get the picture, entire green lot, the size of a parking lot, tents every square inch, a road-sized path to get back and forth to some bathrooms, and there are literally, on Penn State campus, 100,000 people tailgating. And so, as he starts doing this chant, which is, it's time, it's hour on the hour, people start to gather around from the entire area. And by 11 o'clock, there were over 200 people who, when he was done and everybody was there, he started saying, "Who needs? Who needs?" And people were walking around with big jugs of Jägermeister, and they had these little plastic cups they were handing out. And so they had hundreds of shots to pour in these little plastic cups.
Sure.
Who needs? Who needs? And soon everyone had one. And he says, "Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya," and he introduces Michigan players and says, "You're welcome to play your fight song, and then we're going to sing ours."
I know that one.
That's right. And so they did that.
That's the only fight song I know.
The original bishop, who was an old dude who's now retired, sat behind me. He had these vulgar lyrics.
The original bishop.
To the Michigan fight song.
Of course.
That he's been singing for 40, 50 years, whatever. So he's got the shot glasses up, and he says pretty quietly, "We are." And people say, "Penn State, we are Penn State, we are Penn State."
Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom. And by the end of his cadence, he's screaming, "We are Penn State, we are." And then they sing their fight song.
Right.
And then they all take the shot. And they wipe their mouth. And he says, "We are Penn State, we are Penn," and does it all again. And then when he's at the height of it, he's done, and he says, "Thank you," and everybody screams out, "You're welcome!" And every hour on the hour. 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. Game at noon, I went to a bar to see the first, the opening kickoff and drive, and Michigan was 3 and out, which, as it turns out, was the highlight of the game for Penn State. Who got just beaten up. It was not a fun game to watch. Anyway, that was my Penn State story.
Just as someone that is now so far removed from the college sports world, I was only ever barely with my up to my ankles in it, but that level of tribal chanting gets to something that is so inside all of us humans.
Basic.
Like it's so ancient in our bones that I can understand that would just feel like total magic to the people doing that. And for sure in Europe they do that for their own soccer teams and crap like that too, but it's just feeling like you're part of a tribe in that way, and chanting and we're gonna go against that other tribe over there. Like it's so it scratches an itch that thankfully is about sports and not war.
Well, in the case of this, these college rivalries, the biggest one, and what some people would say is the biggest rivalry in all of sports, not just all of college sports or all of football or whatever, but all of sports is Ohio State, Michigan, which is referred to.
No one outside the U.S. has ever heard of Ohio State. Just to break it down.
Well,
but fine.
Actually,
all of
they
sport.
have a bigger international base than Michigan, but
Okay.
maybe not in Spain.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
Okay. Continue.
But they call it the game. They call it the game. It's just called the game.
Yeah.
And in the Michigan, or in each of their locker rooms, but for certain, in the Ohio State locker room, in the trophy room, there's basically an atomic clock that ticks out the seconds, minutes, hours, days, weeks, months until Ohio State plays Michigan. And Michigan has the same type of thing, although I don't know that they have a clock. And the interesting thing about this year's discussion pre-games, it's a big deal. There's all the channels, everybody's crazy about it. 4 or 5 pundits, holding court on game day in Michigan, right up the road, really, in the biggest stadium in the United States. 110,000 seats.
Okay.
And the discussion, one guy said, it used to be that while these guys hated each other, they respected each other. And when all was said and done, the coaches, particularly when they, in certain times of their life, they're very close. But now, he said, in today's society, they hate each other. They hate each other. All the clips, of course, are sensational, of catches and whatnot, and they include fisticuffs. They include lots of fisticuffs, as if they want to encourage such a thing. I'm sure they're
this biggest stadium in the United States is which stadium? Ohio,
Michigan, the big house. It's
Michigan
called.
Stadium in Ann Arbor.
Yes.
Okay, that's actually the second biggest, but cool.
What's the biggest?
There's a motor.
Dallas?
There's a motor speedway in Tennessee. The Michigan one holds 107,000, and the Bristol Motor Speedway in Tennessee holds 156,000.
156,000.
That's a lot of. That's a lot of.
But is that a stadium?
Look, it's for motorsports and football, is what it's what it listed. So, yes.
It's funny then
Good
they
grief,
get away
the
with
photo.
saying that then.
The photos.
Because all the announcers are saying it. The biggest stadium.
Yeah,
The biggest stadium in the country.
It's the but like, yeah. I mean, it's the announcer's job to hype. They are hype. This is the most important thing. You're about to watch the most important thing. Stay through the commercials. This is about to be the most amazing thing. Blah blah blah. I have questions about your attire. That our super duper mega Patreon subscribers, of which there are none, will be able to see the video of your sleeves. But I've seen like young teenage girls with sweaters where there's a thumb hole that you can put your thumb through, but I've never seen a fellow like yourself that has a thumb hole in the sleeve. I understand it seems super useful if you want to keep if you don't want your sleeve rolling up anyway when you put your jacket on or whatever.
This is what I call my fishing shirt.
Yeah.
And when I put my heavier shirt over the top of it, and I put a coat over that because I'm fishing in icy water in a 35-degree day. This will make sure that exactly as you say, not only won't my sleeve roll up, but also when I put my glove on, I've got that extra bit of warmth there.
Exactly. I remember when I don't recall anyone talking to me about it, but when I was raising my kids and I was teaching them, when you've got long sleeves on in winter and you want to put on another thing,
right,
to like hold the sleeve up and grab it, and I used to say, do the trick, and they would all do that, and so they know
Such
that
clever children.
they know that as doing the trick, but I honestly don't know why more sleeves don't have thumb holes. Like, it seems like such a reasonable solution to that.
Well, there's extra
problem.
stitching. There's extra stitching.
True.
So it's more expensive.
To stitch a hole. Yeah. I understand. But I mean.
But notwithstanding, people who want to buy something with like this.
Yeah.
When I bought it, I didn't know it had these, and I have one. I thought, isn't that funny? I have the exact shirt, except mine has holes in it for my thumbs. I was at the store, I held it up. It was $8, half off, so it was $4.
Jesus.
And
That's some cheap.
I'm like, oh yeah, I got this. And when I got it home and tried it on, I realized it was identical to the other one I have, which I wear all the time. And it's got the hand things, yeah.
Huh. That's clever. Like,
and orange. And a nice, gray stripe going down the side.
Yeah. Oh, he's modeling now. Oh, wow. Look at that body. Fantastic. Sit back down.
Ripples.
Yes. A six-pack. Cool.
Actually, it's a 12-pack.
Nice. So let's see. Since we've spoken last, we've been transitioning into sports parents. You know how they're
Soccer moms.
Yeah, soccer mom sort of stuff. Except that we are martial arts. And well, there's some tennis too. So my son is doing tennis, and he's agreed to compete. And so like he has an official national number. He's a member of the National Tennis League or whatever.
So he was asked by his coach.
Yeah, and so he played one match where it was doubles, and he and his teammate won. And then another match, his first singles match, where he was pretty badly trounced. And I later spoke to his coach, and his coach said, "Yeah, he did really, really well, but at this age, the kid that's stronger is going to win. Like if you can hit it harder, you're gonna win." And so like this kid was slightly older or whatever,
and bigger,
and it reminded me of so much of the interesting things from Malcolm Gladwell's Outliers book have been sort of debunked. But one of the things that I haven't heard debunking of is apparently most of the professional NHL players, the professional hockey players, like the vast majority of them were born between January and May. Like their birthdays are all at the beginning of the year, because as kids, the cutoff was always, December 31st. And so if you were slightly older and stronger, then you did better, and then you were chosen to go on. And there's this sort of perpetuation of having that slight advantage. And it's a beautiful theory. Who knows if it's true at all? But there's this beautiful theory that if you start off with a little bit of an advantage, then you will then you end up pursuing that.
It would likely be true from a psychological standpoint, because you're a successful athlete is sure of himself.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So
sure of themselves, and and if they have success, I mean, if you get beat every time you play, you're going to be disheartened.
Right. So anyway, I thought that was interesting. But he's going to. It feels like almost every freaking weekend now there's a little tournament thing, and
within an hour.
So far they've all been like walking distance in our own town, but this weekend there's one that is a 30-minute drive away that I have to take him to. But my daughter also has done her first. Her sport is taekwondo, and she went to her first competition this past weekend, and it's not combat. It's a, can you do this series of moves and kicks and things properly, the way that is considered proper. And
against an opponent?
No, it with judges giving you ranking, giving you a score.
So you're performing for the judges?
You're performing for the judges. Yeah,
It's why wouldn't they put an opponent there, a no-touch opponent there? You know? So they were doing it to a person, a fighter, because that's more realistic.
I don't
Who's
know.
Doing the same one.
I think somehow I don't know anything about the history of this, but somehow the martial arts have gotten to be more about, like, it almost feels like dance to me, where you're doing this combination of moves and kicks and stuff, and there's a way to do it properly. Like, you need to get your leg this high in the air, or you need to get the rhythm down of this 1-2 punch or something, but you're not actually fighting anything. And I kind of feel like it's a weird way of being able to teach this stuff without people getting hurt or something. But she does later in her classes. They have like actual like physical contact combat, but I don't really know. But this particular competition was, can you do this series of moves? And there's like 25 moves that you have to remember and keep in your head, and like do it in the right way and stuff. And she did. Everyone said that her technique was amazing, but then she sort of got in her head at the last minute and sort of like forgot what the next thing is and hesitated a little bit, and then so she got sort of a low score because of that. But and of course she was super nervous because you're there in front of a bunch of people and doing this and in front of the judges, and it was her first time doing anything like that. So she was super
She's
nervous.
12?
14.
14.
And which is even more nerves, I would imagine. And it was, but it was like when it was over, she was sort of like freaked out or whatever. But then all her teammates were there with her, and she had such a good time that she wants to do it again. So,
good.
But it was
good. Well, that's going to keep you busy.
Yeah, and not only that. Speaking of doing moves and remembering moves and stuff, I have also started going back to salsa dancing classes with my wife. We used to do this a long time ago, back before we had kids, and we found it's actually a teacher we went to 14 years ago or whatever.
Oh, no kidding.
But boy, is he good.
Was it some body of memory that you picked up on it quicker because you did kind of remember it?
Oh yeah, we went directly to the advanced class, and
have you been dancing it since you learned it?
No, I mean no. It had been a while, but when we went to the class the first time, the teacher clearly realized that we knew something. We'd just forgotten the names of all the moves and crap.
Right.
And it's been kind of wild going there and relearning. Like, they just have these arbitrary names for a set of spins and moves and stuff. And so we're there, and the teacher calls out, "Okay, now everyone, we're going to do the 74." And you have to remember what that is and what's several steps that entails. And it's the man that has to remember that. Like, the woman is just sort of following what the man does. But it's yeah. But it's been kind of crazy learning that.
Sounds like
learning
fun.
That stuff again and trying.
Sounds busy though with all this.
Yeah.
The weekend thing. I remember when we had three. Let's see, how many kids did we have sports age? 1, 3. They're all playing soccer, so it seems like that's all we did. I was a soccer coach, even though I didn't even understand the game, and I still don't. I didn't even know the rules, but there were 3. There were 4 years old. I mean, yeah. I mean, to just kick the ball, not the person, and let's get it in the goal.
But
they were older than 4. I had older girls. I had 7 or 8 year olds.
But
so it's a big sports weekends for me are built around, my schedule's built around the various sports games that are playing in this time of the year. It's
sports ball,
football, and the Lions from Detroit are doing very well. Their best record since 1960.
I heard some Lions news, like
leading the division,
that they weren't sucking or something.
This coach is this big former football player who blah blah blah. They're playing the Saints this weekend, to give you an idea, in New Orleans, and they're favored to win in New Orleans home field. But then the Buffalo Bills, which I've been following all my life, who had this huge game, went into overtime, and they lost, and they shouldn't have. And I turned on basketball last night to see Michigan State, and I have to switch sports. I was so disinterested in the basketball game because it wasn't football. I'm not done with football. My football mojo is still there. Huh. I can't say, oh, this is an interesting game. No. In fact, I had it on speedy, like I had it fast forwarding, so I saw the whole game in about 10 minutes. Tried to follow it, saw the score changing, and just to get an idea of the tempo. And then it snowed here.
Of the basketball.
Snow. Yes.
You were watching the basketball
this weekend, which
accelerated?
Yes. Yeah, football I watch.
Because I was going to say football could really use some acceleration, but whatever. Cool.
they're crazy good athletes. I tell you, the athletes now too are so perfectly conditioned, and the equipment is so much lighter, right? That it's not unusual anymore to see a football player jump over the top of another opponent who may be crouched down for a tackle, and or do a complete backflip to get over a person or to get into the end zone.
Right.
Or to celebrate in the end zone doing a backflip. It just... You wouldn't have to go back many years to be able to say that never happened.
Right.
And they're like human destroyers. I mean, they're just built for one thing. Some of these guys just to squash and tackle and grab. And oh god, they're getting hurt all the
that's
time.
true of all the sports. Like if you watch how the golfers all go to the same gym in Florida, where they all work on the specific golf muscles, and they get super jacked on the muscles that can make you hit the ball even further. And
Tiger Woods was the first one that took that to a high level.
Right.
And you can look at pictures of Tiger, as you know, from his teenage amateur years to about 2 years into his professional life. And he turned into a fucking beast. His surgery on his foot, by the way, that he had, his foot and his ankle in April, he's announced yesterday that it's very successful and he's pain-free. That's really good news.
Boy,
he's going to win one more.
Being an athlete and having, I mean, if I lost a finger or something, I would suck at my programming job for a while or whatever. But being an athlete where your income fluctuates so much on whether or not you slept on your shoulder wrong, it's just kind of crazy to me.
Yeah.
But
it's the level of commitment to the sport epitomized by Tom Brady, not my favorite quarterback, but certainly the best quarterback there ever was. His regimen, which is, there's loads of stuff written on it. Temperature controlled bedroom, highly specific diet, balanced protein, hired trainers, certain amounts of sleep, rest, and it's nonstop. And that's one of the reasons why one would assume, I didn't know that he said it, I think he said it, was that it's one of the reasons you retire. It's like, when do I get to just live a life instead of so centered on this one thing and so regimented and so disciplined? You can imagine, his wife, who left him, as it turns out, who would say, well, we have this dinner party we're going to, and he isn't going to be able to drink. He's going to have to leave early.
Yep.
He'll do what he can. I don't know. It's one of the reasons I was never a very good athlete, is that I was never that disciplined to want to practice. I was a runner, and ran track, and I was pretty good at that. But it was a lot. I ended up quitting. Well, I ended up getting kicked off the team. Well, the entire team was kicked off the team.
Oops.
Because the entire team was out drinking one night, and the football coach caught us and reported it to the priest, who was the track coach. And he kicked all of us off the team, and then spoke to each one of us individually and then invited, as it turns out, everybody back to the team. And I said, no, I think I'd rather drink.
Of course, you can't. Yeah. That's why you can't compare your health to the Hollywood, magazine cover celebrity people, where it's their job to be super fucking fit, and they have a team of people helping them regiment every
Gain
part of
weight,
their
lose
lives
weight.
to be that fit, and it's not fun for them. But we still kind of like, why don't I have a six pack like Captain America or whatever his name is, and it's just like, you can't, like, if it were your job, if your body shape were your job, then yes, like that would be a thing. But for the rest of us, like, that's not our job. Like, our job is to produce value in some other way. So anyway, so it goes. So tell me, what's your let's dive. I want to hear your latest on U.S. politics.
Well, multiple fronts, typical fronts. The war is Israel-Hamas. After our last talk, and I sent you the numbers, we now know the numbers very clearly of, and as it turns out, there's a pretty strong impression worldwide that Israel might have overdone it a bit. And there's something that's linked to that in a way that I haven't been able to communicate the link exactly. But at the same time, the hostages, they give up 3 Palestinians for every single hostage. And it's sort of like, all right, you killed 1,400, so we've killed 14,000, 5,000 of which are children. What's going on is so spectacular, and the response of Israel, not unexpected and not clearly understood, because we just knew that they were going to bomb, and they did, and it was more indiscriminate than what they claimed, unless one thinks that, it's like someone said so interesting, what about Berlin, when we, our allies, bombed Berlin, and how about the women and children we killed then? When we dropped a bomb on Hiroshima and wiped out everyone, regardless, what you're saying, what, we shouldn't have done that to end the World War? I mean, and people don't, like this woman said,
it's a tough.
Regarding Berlin, she said, "Oh well, they didn't kill any citizens." That's like, lady, Dresden,
right?
Are you kidding?
Dresden is the big one. Yeah.
And so it's a tough question.
That wasn't my question.
Oh.
I was asking about U.S. politics.
U.S. politics. It's all about politics, because the Arabs in the United States are so pissed. One was said the other day, we're not going to vote for Biden unless he can turn into Jesus Christ and raise dead people from the grave. We won't be voting for him. Now,
because Trump is so much better.
No. They're not talking about Trump. They're talking about Biden. They're not saying they're going to vote for Trump. You could ask them that, and they would say, I'm not sure, but I ain't voting for Biden. He isn't the other alternative. There's 8 people running for president. You know,
Wait,
there will
come
be
on,
8 people.
please.
No, there are. If you're a person of principle who isn't voting because you care about the outcome as much as you care about your personal obligation to hold true to your strong beliefs, there's a lot of people who vote that way.
Or don't in this case.
Or that's right, and who say,
look, if you're upset about the bad thing your people on your ballot have done, then of course no one's going to vote. Like, I wouldn't.
Well, but not everybody on the ballot's done bad things.
Well,
a lot of people run and have never been in a position. You think Jill Stein has got a closet full of skeletons?
I'm talking about the presidential ballot.
Me too. Jill Stein's running for president again.
Yeah, okay. I was talking about
and she doesn't
in November. But
yeah,
she won't be. Okay. Okay.
What do you
fine.
mean?
But
she'll be on the ballot because her party is putting her forward. Democrats are putting forward, Republicans are putting forward, the Green Party's putting forward. There's going to be a lot of people on the ballot. All these parties are there. So my only point is this, to your point, which is, if the people who are running have done bad things, people won't vote. There's a lot of reasons people won't vote. One of them, though, is not that everybody who's running for president has done bad things, or things or let's not say bad, let's say controversial and polarizing. You know, Jill Stein is a doctor and a civil rights leader, women's rights leader, and it isn't like she pulled the trigger on, saying I love Israel without mentioning much about the Palestinians and Palestinians,
okay. Okay, so you.
But here's my point.
To be on the ballot?
Back to the point. This is why it's politics. In the swing states, where there's a difference in winner and loser of 55,000, 60,000, 100,000 votes. It's about 7 states that matter. They're called the swing states. In each of those states, there is what could be described as a sizable Arab American population. In one case, with one of the states, I don't know which one, 55,000 people difference in the vote, there's 27,000 Palestinian Americans, Arab Americans. This could be the difference. Now, a lot of people, you know what? Jill Stein may benefit, but guess who would win? The
Trump.
Worst guy. I don't think Trump is going to be the nominee.
Of course he is. I've been on
No.
Look at all the polls. No. He's winning everything. He's leading everything.
Do you know who was leading this time and after Iowa in 2020, let's see, 20 something or other, Rick Santorum.
Yeah.
Another year it was Huckabee. Okay,
right. But they were they were leading against the juggernaut that is Donald, and
Santorum didn't run against Donald Trump. That was before Donald Trump. Santorum was more like
that was Romney. That was Romney, and what a fantastic juggernaut that was.
Well, and Romney wasn't running against Trump either.
No, he wasn't, but because he won the nomination.
Yeah. But Trump wasn't a candidate.
Okay, that's where the episode stopped because one of my co-hosts turned his thing off, and so there you go. You can find the show notes at happyhour.fm/199. Holy crap, are we close to 200? And you can support the show at patreon.com/happyhour. And Glad to be back. See you next week.